On behalf of my crew, I want to say that we accept this award on behalf of hip-hop music, black culture in general. We like for everybody to think about the people right outside this door that's homeless as you're sitting in these $900 seats and $300 seats. They not out there eating at all.
One of the greatest hip-hop groups of all time made a statement when they won a Grammy.
Also, we like to say to the universal black family that one day we're gonna recognize our true enemy and we're gonna stop attacking each other, and maybe then we'll get some changes going on. We'd like to thank the Academy for recognizing us. So peace to the gods in earth.
They are Digable Planets. In a time when Tupac Shakur, Biggie Smalls, and Ice Cube reigned supreme, gangsta rap was in, MTV was pushing it, and the record labels were more than happy to garner attention to the product from the masses. Digable went against the grain and stuck to their version of hip-hop, heavy with jazz, messages of the political climate. This is a group one should not only know, but keep on repeat. The group consists of Ishmael Butterfly Butler, Mariana Ladybug Mecca Vieira, who is one of the best female MCs ever, and Craig Doodlebug Irving. It's almost guaranteed you've heard a song of theirs and don't even know it. On their debut album, Reachin', A New Reputation of Time and Space, they make direct references, to name a few: Jimi Hendrix, Muslims, the Supreme Court, Miles Davis, and Venus. Each album has a litany of information. After all, with Mecca being from Brazil, Butler, the son of a history professor, and Irving, the child of an activist and school teacher, they have a bevy of knowledge that bumps through the speakers. In an interview with the LA Times, Butterfly gave this honest answer when questioned on what rappers influenced him. He gave a nod to Public Enemy, a force to be reckoned with in the political sphere of music. Yet journalist, historian, and author Dart Adams told Rolling Stone people were enamored with Digable Planets in the mainstream, but they didn't completely get them. For example, their names Doodlebug, Ladybug, and Butterfly? Let's get into it. The insect theory is embedded in communalism, and the goal was to show that we as a people can work together to better ourselves and push ourselves forward, Ladybug Mecca shared in regards to their unique stage names. In a 2018 interview, it was rooted in that. And on the name of the group, Digable Planets, Butler would tell OK Player, I was basically thinking the music we made was something people could dig, so Digable. I was listening to a lot of George Clinton and Sun Ra, so I was on some space stuff, cosmic. I was thinking of each person as a planet. We are all in a solar system, a galaxy, and trying to orbit around each other. That was my imagination for those words. They would form in 1987, signed with Pendulum Records in 92, and released their first album in 93 titled Reachin'. It led to stardom. They would enjoy commercial success, however, as noted by Chris Campbell, there was a consensus among them that the message behind the music was totally missed and that their blackness was lost in the hype surrounding the release. It was in 1994. They had released their second album, Blowout Comb, competing for listeners' ears with Bad Boy Records, Death Row, Illmatic, Southern Playlist, Cadillac Funky Music, and many more. And this, well, this shocked many. What do I mean? Let's explain. Wrote Stereo Williams, despite glowing reviews, the cerebral, esoteric, jazzy rap of Digable Planets was suddenly ignored by mainstream audiences, and they'd injected the album with more pronounced 5% leanings that some critics cited as alienating to the pop, i.e. white, crowd. And how do we know this to be true? The group pays homage to plenty of African-American musicians and artists of the 60s and 70s, wrote Keisha Solomon in her piece. Blowout Comb's samples and shoutouts are like the little seeds encoded with meaningful yet obscure bits of black culture. Think De La's album, De La Soul is Dead. Blowout Comb can relate. The Black Panthers are referenced repeatedly through the Planets' work because of the strong connection they have. They all grew up in households shaped by the Black Liberation Movement. Mecca's parents were active in the liberation movement in Brazil. Craig's father was a member of the Black Panther Party, and Ishmael's parents participated in the Black Liberation Movement. It was as anti-establishment as an album could possibly get. Campbell puts in his write-up the significance of visuals that came with albums back in the day. The liner notes and sleeves are styled after the newspaper of the Black Panther movement, including propaganda art, ads for soul food venues, taglines to free political prisoners, and messages from and for the community. Other shoutouts include Sun Ra, Marvin Gaye, Sly and the Family Stone, Eric Dolphy, Derek Bell, Reggie Butler, George Clinton, and many, I need to bold and underline this, many more. A personal favorite lyric on the album is a depressingly constant line. I raise every day for the mass, told my fist right up right against the fascist. The message was clear, writes Pitchfork's Sheldon Pierce. Freedom, progressivism, oneness, harmony, and serendipity are the core tenets that would come to define the rap trio and their ideology throughout their career. They turned Karl Marx, Sonny Rollins, and Parliament into pillars of their cool communal space.
We start with the breaking news out of the Supreme Court. The conservative majority has overturned Roe versus Wade, ending the federal protection of a woman's right to an abortion.
The ruling upholds a Mississippi law that bans abortions at 15 weeks of pregnancy.
The opinion says the Constitution does not guarantee abortion rights. It called the 1973 precedent, quote, egregiously wrong, and says it is now up to individual states to decide the legality of abortion.
And specifically, when Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas practically said he is against abortion, the Planets put out The Femme Fatale, a track where Butterfly shares a story of Nikki, who became pregnant, and because of the trials and tribulations of life, considered abortion. Butterfly offers words of encouragement to his vexed friend, while also blasting those that would criticize and condemn her. Chastising the fascists as some heavy dudes, he explains. They don't really give a damn about life. They just don't want a woman to control her body or have the right to choose. NPR would write that Clarence Thomas is already represented in the song, that the stories they're telling about fascism and the ways in which this is not about your protection or safety, this is about control. All of those things are at the pitch point, the fever pitch point of discussions around this decision. An examination of what? Mecca the Ladybug specifically calls out the Supreme Court of the United States for their anti-abortion stances in Planned Parenthood v. Casey. The song Black Ego remains reminiscent today, with police brutality, the effects of racism, and defiance. There's even a reference to Cleopatra Jones. And in the emboldening track, Butler waives his Miranda rights. It's gripping storytelling. Years later, in an interview, he was approached with this question: what are some of the black-oriented themes you deal with? He'd respond, if you're black in this country, you have some scars from being a have-not. Listen to our music carefully. In the feeling, in the horns, or in the lyrics, or in the tone we used to say certain things, you'll feel that sense of being a have-not. In some ways, that's what our music is all about. In the end, the Planets split in the year 1995. Vieira was reeling from the loss of her grandparents. Their creative visions had begun to diverge from their major label attachments, and the grind of the music industry had taken a toll on the relationship the group had with each other. Their breakup was symptomatic of the gradual end of an era. The conscious jazz rap era was slowly waning, succeeded by the East Coast hardcore of Biggie and Nas that'd take America by storm. Planets could only last so long in such a quickly shifting environment. Butterfly would be asked by the LA Times, do you think hip-hop is too frivolous? He'd answer, I'm not sure I'd say that, but there's room in it for social and political messages. It doesn't always have to be a party. Hip-hop ultimately is about life, and life isn't a party, particularly when you're black. There should be things in hip-hop that deal with serious issues about being black in this country. We try to do that in our music. So if you want a jazzy, melodic hip-hop sound that you could play quite literally anywhere. Play it for the kids when you're taking them to school. Play it when you're lighting up. Play it when you're chilling with the boys. Play it if you want a game on, but you want music blasting throughout your house. Play it in the barber shop. Play it when you're taking the dog for a walk. Play it in the speakers when you're playing out back with the kids. Doesn't matter. This is a phenomenal group. And I did see that they are going to be north side of Chicago with one of my other favorite groups of all time, The Roots. If you know that they are coming to a town near you, I highly 10 out of 10 recommend that you go check them out. This is the epitome of leftist politics through some of the dopest samples I've ever heard, paying homage to their roots and what they believe in, and presenting it to us all in a fantastic but albeit short stretch. Digable Planets, much love.